Hey, call me Shape, and today I'm reacting to a video titled, The Reason Why So Many Black Women Are Single. Let's get right into it.
A lot of the time I realize that other cultures kind of get this. I need you to hear me. Other cultures tend to get this. And when I say other cultures, I'm talking about white culture, Indian culture. I'm talking about other cultures other than African Americans. And a lot of the time what happens is you're mistaking the playboy for a husband, and you're trying to marry a playboy instead of marrying a husband. And that's a lot of women don't realize this. A lot of women don't realize this. And this is why you continue to have such horrible dating experiences, because you could be sitting there ignoring the husband material, ignoring the man that is already put you in his forever category. A man will sleep with you, hang out with you, Netflix and chill with you, and you are not his type at all, but he enjoys the sex, he enjoys your company, he enjoys the fun. And now as a woman, you've put this type of man into the husband material. They looked at the playboy and said, he just wasn't the one, he wasn't faithful, he wasn't ready to settle down. But Rebecca, as a matchmaker, I want you to find me the man who looks like Mr. Playboy, who wants to be loyal and faithful to me and committed to me, and find me my husband, but I want him to look like Mr. Playboy and act like Mr. Playboy. And that's when I stopped matchmaking.
Over the years, there have been a lot of black women who help black women who have decided to actually stop helping black women. So I'll give you some examples. Iyanla Vanzant, who had a show called Fix My Life. Many of you have watched this show. She started getting death threats from people. Some of them, I believe, were black women. You know, some people, particularly black women, didn't like her coaching style. So she stopped serving in that capacity as far as her show on the OWN network. April Mason, who was recently on the Dear Future Wifey podcast, she is a femininity coach. And she had an academy where she was helping black women, I believe individually, coaching them, and she stopped. She didn't want to do it anymore. Rebecca Lynn Pope, who you just saw a clip of, she is a content creator on YouTube. She's also a coach. She teaches courses, more so around, I would say she does more so life coaching. She doesn't outright say it's because of black women, but she implies this by talking about women and their unrealistic expectations, and then also talking about other women in other cultures not having the same expectations that black women have, right? So these are 3 examples of coaches who have stopped helping black women. Relationship coaches are giving up on helping black women because of our unrealistic expectations. And again, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have standards, but we need to be asking ourselves, can we bring, to the table what we're asking for and more?
And you're blinded to all the red flags, right? That he's really not consistent. He's already showing you he's not into you, right? But then here's the key, guys. This is when I stopped matchmaking. I've told you guys this before. I stopped matchmaking because I had a different standard for men than I realized that a lot of women had. A lot of single women have these standards that are crazy. And I met my husband, and when I was matchmaking, I realized that the women, my female clients, would have not even given my husband a chance. They wouldn't have dated him.
Yeah, okay, so look, she raised some really good points. She said that they want the playboy. This is what I see as a black man. If a woman is a single mom, chances are she got with a simp, right? A dude who worshipped her, put her on a pedestal, and then she realized after she had the kid that he was worthless, he was a loser, and so she breaks up with him, right? And then you have the women who are like, let's say 35 plus, who are single, who are childless. They're the ones looking for the pimp or the playboy or the player, right? Because in this community, we have pimps and simps, and the guy that she's describing that she's married to is, I would consider, a good guy, right? A sovereign guy. But most women, they're looking for some kind of emotional appeal. That emotional appeal is if they feel anxiety from somebody that makes them anxious. They usually are the ones chasing after the players, or the ones that feel smothered, loved, cared for, and worshipped. And those are the ones that go after the simps. And usually, from what I see, just from my personal perspective, all the single moms I know, none of them have babies by pimps or playboys. None of them, right? None of them do. They all have children by simps, losers, guys that they don't respect, guys that they don't want to be seen with in public, guys that they want to give a second chance to. But they had the kid, they were hooking up with this guy because he made them feel like they were actually liked and actually cherished. And for a lot of women, they feel good about that because they're used to dating the playboys who actually would never give them the time of day. They would have to chase after them. So then they finally decide, you know what? I want to go in the opposite direction. So they go for the loser, the dude who like worships them, who they think, oh man, I can control him. But after a while, they realize, oh, he's actually not worth anything. But it's too late. She already had his kid. So, that's what I break down as the actual problem.
Because my husband is a good man, a solid man, right? A strong man. I mean, my husband, but literally, it was like I realized that's not what a lot of these women are looking for. And I've done videos about this, about how women and their expectations of men have gotten so ridiculous. And
I think Rebecca Lynn Pope is spot on. When she talks about other races or other cultures, and how they're socialized, it is very rare for a woman of another race or culture to make comments and say that, I can do bad by myself, or, I have my degree, I'm good. In my experience, women, again, of other races and other cultures seem to understand the value that men have in their lives and just in the world. And this is kind of ingrained in them from the time they're born, right? Whereas Black women, I think oftentimes many of us are socialized. We're socialized to think that somehow education can serve as a placeholder or can serve as a substitute for a man, for a partner, etc. And this can be a very tricky space to navigate with Black women. Many of us are very accomplished in our careers, and we're trying to navigate dating. We hope to, one day become married. And many of our jobs, in my opinion, incite and encourage us to become more masculine. And I'm going to be doing a video about how, as Black women, we can protect our femininity. That's another video. This video...
So let's talk about the masculine issue, right? And I think the masculine issue is a huge issue in the Black community. The masculine issue, to me, is a defense mechanism. Because these are women who don't feel like they're covered. They don't feel like they're protected. And so they go out and they try to become the men that they want, right? And in my opinion, a good portion of these girls, they want the players, like what Rebecca Lynn Pope was describing, and what this lady Neka is describing. By the way, shout out to Neka. I spoke with her before. We're definitely supposed to collab in the future, so shout out to her. She actually just got married. Congrats to her. But let's keep talking about the masculine point. So they're masculine because they need that kind of orientation in order to compete in the business world, in the academic world. They need to orient themselves in such a way where they're disagreeable and they don't take no nonsense type of thing, right? And it works well for them going through academia, right? They got to kind of push against the norm. They have to really be competitive against men. Problem with that is a lot of those women who become masculine actually do like masculine men. They really do. I'm telling you, I've dated these girls. They want a masculine man. It does it tickles their cherries. You know what I'm saying? It tickles their cherries. So I think the issue though is when these men don't want them. Like, I've dated a lot of these girls for, like, let's say, a lot of times if I talk to a girl that's masculine, it won't last more than a month. Like, I will attract them. They'll be interested. Within that month time, we'll go on a few dates. Sometimes we smash. But oftentimes, we end up butting heads where the point where it's arguments. And I realize is they're challenging me. They're trying to argue with me. They're trying to debate me. They want to... And they're using this kind of same orientation that got them through school, got them through college, got them through their master's degree, helped them get a raise at work, helped them get hired. They're using that in their personal lives, and it doesn't work. It might work for them professionally, but it doesn't work personally because at the end of the day, I don't want to be ruled by a woman, right? And this is why a lot of women who are well-to-do, high-achieving women, they end up being single. They end up being where they have to freeze their eggs because they haven't realized that what they're doing is not working. And now they're in their 40s, they have no children, and they think, oh man, it should be equality. If a man could have kids in his 40s, I should be having kids in my 40s, and I'm going to freeze my eggs so I can control this and I can control that. It's all about control. They are addicted to power, but they don't understand the men they want don't want to be controlled. So there lies a problem. And then you have the ones that are single moms. Like I said, they dated the guys that worship them, and they realize, oh, I'm better than him. I'm too good for him. So they leave him because they realize that he's not equally yoked to them. He doesn't make as much money as they do. He's not as socially adept as they are. He doesn't have any future in his life. But they might have wasted a lot of time with this guy already. They might have spent 5 years with him, 10 years with him. They might have a kid with him. All this time just to realize, oh, gee, I think I could do better. And what they fail to realize is that now that you have a kid, it's going to be harder on the dating market for the guy they really want. It's going to be that much more harder. So those are the two types of girls. The girls who initially they want to worship a guy. Those are girls that go after the players, the ones that give them that feeling of, oh my God, I don't know if he's going to answer, he's going to call, he's an asshole, that kind of guy, that kind of archetype for a girl. And then there's another archetype for a girl who they want to be worshipped by a man. And I don't worship any women. So I definitely, this is why I don't have any kids, because no girl, and by the way, I'm sure I could have had children before, honestly, to be honest with you. A lot of girls are so careless. I'm certain I could have been a father by now. But me, I'm very careful. So I wouldn't allow myself to just be, shooting up the club here for girls. That's not what I want to do. I want to plan my parenthood. I do. But if I was careless like a lot of these simps are who try to trap women, I'd be a father by now. And so now we have two types of single women. Single women that have children, single women that don't have children. And neither of them are really desirable, And what black women normally do in this scenario, if the roles were reversed, they'll say, oh, start dating outside your race. Because they'll start blaming us. And black women do that. They'll start saying, do you want to date down and date a black man or date up and date outside your race? And a lot of them say, I'd rather date up, or some of them say I'd rather date down. Either way, it's like the assumption is if they date another race, they'll be dating up. They don't assume that they'll be dating down. They don't assume that there's going to be a trade-off for that. Their assumption is outside my race is a trade-off, but I'll be benefiting because this dude's going to take me to Capitol Grill. He's going to take me to 5-star restaurants, Ruth Chris. They don't realize that all white people are not rich. See, I'm from a town. I used to live in a hood till I was about 13 years old, and then I moved to the suburbs because my dad was doing so well he could buy a brand new house. So he bought a brand new house in a white suburb. It's a small white suburb and actually a poor white suburb, right? And so we were like one of the wealthier families in this poor white suburb. And at that point, I realized, even me, I had the kind of impression that white people are rich, black people poor, white people rich. I got there and I lived in one of the nicest houses in that whole town, in that whole city. And I've seen a lot of white people who were, living in apartments their entire lives. I had friends who, they literally grew up in an apartment their entire lives. Their parents never owned anything. And people don't think about those kind of white people. That there are white people that don't have nothing. They're hillbillies. They're what people call white trash. I don't think they're trash. Well, I didn't create that term for them. I don't call them that. But I know other white people call them white trash. You have this type of thing going on. But in the black community, people who grew up in the hood, they're not aware that there's poor whites. They're not aware of it. Because the white stereotype is you're wealthy, you're smart, you're educated. They don't look at it like you could be white, dumb, stupid, broke. They don't look at it that way. So, I don't think for men that we have to stop dating black women. I just think that you have to find a girl who aligns with you. And if she happens to be black, great. If she's not, good as well. I think the passport bro solution is a great solution for black men. Black men are going overseas, going to Thailand to find women. I respect it. Going to the Philippines, I respect it. Going to Vietnam, I respect it. Going to Colombia, I respect it. Because if you're a well-to-do man and your counterparts are older, they got their eggs frozen, and they want to control you, that's a bad deal. I don't care if they're black, white, green, yellow, purple. It's a bad deal. And so, to kind of test this theory out, I'm going to go to Thailand in a month for my birthday. I'm going to go out there for an entire week. And I'm going to see what is it really like out there. Because I heard it's inexpensive. I heard the women are very feminine. And they're very well aware that there are masculine men from other countries that have money that are coming into their countries looking for feminine women. And so a lot of them are lining up. I heard men go out there and it's like within moments, days, hours, they're finding women who want them. So I'm curious if that's what it is. I just want to see. But let's get back to what she's saying about black women's problem. I kind of divested a little bit, but yeah, let's go focusing on why black women are single. Let's get back into it.
Mainly just focus on and highlight and really reinforce what Rebecca Lynn Pope stated. It's absolutely true. We get the categories completely confused when it comes to the men that we are interested in. And my mom actually told me this, so shout out to my mom if you're listening. I remember there was a point where my mom made a comment and she said, you need to stop focusing on who you like and focus on who likes you. And that's as it relates to dating.
That is the worst advice for a woman, because losers could like you. But we haven't talked about this yet. We're going to talk about it soon, but there's another reason why black women are single, and it hasn't been touched on yet. So I'm going to let her talk, and then we'll see if it's introduced.
Women have a tendency to go from one of these relationships to the next, to the next, to the next, because all you're going off of is who you like and who you're interested in. I'll tell you this, ladies, it almost doesn't matter who you like. It doesn't matter if you like them. Who likes you? Who's into you? Who is seeing you as you're there forever? Because like I say, as women, we get to choose who to date, but men choose who they marry. The man's putting a ring on it, not the woman. It does not matter who you like.
And I think this is something that a lot of black women are not told. It was a big light bulb moment for me when my mom shared that with me, and she was absolutely right. But I think many black women don't learn this until later in life. Many of us who do actually get married, some of us tend to get married later in life, myself included. I'm not even married yet. So, and I think that there is a need for the femininity coaching. And I know that some people are getting tired of it, because every time you go on YouTube or any social media, you're seeing, videos and various things pop up about femininity. But understand that this is an area that black women really struggle with. There is a process by which, as a black woman, to have a successful relationship and especially to have a successful marriage, oftentimes there are things that you need to unlearn. And, there are ways that you need to navigate your relationships differently. And, I just wanted to highlight that. I wanted to show that clip. The clip went viral when Rebecca Lynn Pope posted that. The video that you saw was 3 years ago. It went viral.
So they didn't bring it up, and I don't know if they're going to bring it up, but I got to wrap this up for my community. So let's talk about this again. I introduced this concept to you guys before, simps and pimps, right? Either girls go after the simps, the guys that like them, or the pimps, the guys that they like. Here's the issue, though. We have reduced why black women are single to their choices. as far as men. This is why some women say, I'm going to get a higher standard. My standard for simps are too low. I'm going to raise my standard up for pimps. Right? Or my standard for pimps is too high. I'm going to lower my standard for simps. That's what they're pretty much saying. The who likes you concept is go after the simp. The who you like is go after the pimp. Here's the problem though. There's no one talking about the accountability for the woman, about her leveling up. If you want the quote unquote pimp, the playboy, you got to just be in order for him to like you, so he's not going to become the simp. He's not going to lower himself to like you. You got to level up where you're desirable and attractive to him. How can you do that? Being feminine, being fit, being friendly. I think Kevin Samuels said this, but people try to crucify him for it. Rest in peace to the Godfather. If you want a high value man, if you want a quote unquote player, if you want a quote unquote pimp, you got to be fit. And a lot of these girls, no black woman is really talking about this. Hey, get in shape. Go to the gym, work out. Everything turns into, oh, well, your choice in men, the type of men, the standards you have for men, the standards you have for men, the standards you have for men. What about the standards for yourself? In the black community, I know this for a fact, the women have the lowest standards for themselves. I'm just telling the truth. They have the lowest standards for themselves. They're not fit. This black lady here, Neka, she has dreads. I love it. Beautiful. They don't rock their own hair, so she rocks her own hair, but a lot of black women prefer to wear wigs, so they don't rock their own hair, which, by the way, most black men don't find wigs attractive, but black women do. They love it. They compete against each other. Oh, which girl has this wig? Which celebrity has this? I'm going to get the same wig as this other celebrity. I worked for a company, when I used to be a photographer, I used to shoot for a hair company that was selling wigs to the top black celebrities. And so a lot of black women would see that and say, oh, I want to get that because that black celebrity gets it. Their assumption is she seems desirable to men. If I do this, I'll be desirable to men. Not realizing that we prefer natural hair. I'd rather get a black girl with a bob cut or dreads. If she wants to have long hair, if she got rock her hair long and natural and straight, I know a lot of them don't like the perm and straight, and it damages the hair. So to me, either a bob cut or dreads. That's my preferred styles for black women. But black women don't listen to us, so it's gonna go in one ear, out the other ear. Right? And so what has to be addressed is that our women are the most obese women in this country. Black women are obese more than any other race in the country. There are more single moms that are black women. There are more fat women that are black women. There are more uneducated black women. So literally no men. That's why when they say, oh, you want to date down or date up in another race, they don't realize that men of other races don't want you either. You're not that competitive. The men that want black women and other races are the really competitive black women. And when I'm talking about competitive, I mean physically attractive. Right? So you'll see maybe a white movie star date a black female movie star. You'll see that. You know what I'm saying? Or women who are athletically achieved. You get what I'm trying to say? They'll date a white athlete. You know what I'm saying? Serena Williams and her husband. You'll see stuff like that, right? But they're not running to date the average black woman. Definitely not average white guys. They're definitely not running to date average black women. So when they say this in my mind, I'm like, you understand, if you're dating up a white guy that has a lot going for himself, do you know other white women are going to be competing against you, and chances are they're going to be more feminine. I'm just telling the truth. They're not going to be as masculine. They're not going to be yelling. They're not going to be as controlling. They're not going to have as much trauma. They're going to be more submissive. And they're going to be more fit on average. Not all of them, but on average. So to me, if we got to tell black women, why are you single? They got to fix their attitude. They got to fix their bodies. They got to fix their hair. And they got to get in line with the kind of men that they want. So if you want, like even me, if you want to be with someone like me, if you consider me high value, if you consider me the pimp, in China, they'll consider me a diamond bachelor because I'm over the age of 35 and I'm still single, no kids. So if you consider me someone to be valuable to you, I'm telling you, I'm a personal trainer. I'm in the gym. I'm not going to date an out of shape black woman. I'm not. There's no reason to, right? I'm having a hard time with women that are in shape. The women that I date, the looks are not the problem for the women I date. The problem that the woman I date, they got to fix is that they're too masculine. They're trying to control me, and they want to wear their pants in a relationship. And I'm not going to be controlled by a woman. I don't care if that makes you feel safe. I don't care if that makes you feel comfortable. I'm not going to date you. Okay? And, I understand that they live their life in such a way where they gotta play defense. They gotta, oh, I'm gonna buy a house because I don't want to wait till another man can buy me a house. Like, every step they're making is reducing the likelihood they get married. Every single step. And every day they're just going to be posting memes on their Instagram and social media and on their stories like, oh, love is this, romance is this, I'm looking for a man to do this, I love men, I love a man who just knows how to be a lover boy, then you have to teach him. All this nonsense. And they're not concerned with what men want. That's the problem. Be concerned with the men you want, what they want. Okay. Anyway, this discussion is not over. We're just going to discontinue it at the moment, but it definitely has to be spoken about again. But like this video for now. Subscribe to the channel. Channel's blowing up. I appreciate you guys. Check out my girl Neka, her channel. I'm going to put her description to this video. It's a longer video. You guys should check out the entire thing. And her channel as well. Go subscribe to her channel if you like what she got, because she's on our side. She really agrees with what men are saying they want in women. Okay. And check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you over there.